Good.
Yeah. Hey, this is how we learn, right?
I know. I know.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for jumping on with us. I'm really excited to introduce Donnie and John, our global directors. And this is what mentorship is all about. So what I wanted to do is bring them on so they could explain what you'll need to do to get to the trip in the event in November for Arizona, and then also the incentive trip that is in April, but you have to qualify between July, this month, until December. So I am going to let them take it away.
All right. Well, does everybody know what blended path ED means? No.
There you go, Lynn.
Okay. Well, a blended path ED means that you are ED, you're at that rank with at least one senior coach leg. And the way it works, every $1,200 in frontline qualified volume is 1 point. So it takes 5 points total to get to ED. So you can reach ED a couple different ways. You can do it with just volume, or you can do it with volume and senior coach legs. Each senior coach leg is 1 point. So what the company wants us to do is they prefer us to go ED blended path rather than just volume. The reason is if you go ED with just volume alone, eventually you'll get burned out. I mean, most EDs that go ED by volume don't last very long because it's just exhausting. You have nobody that you're working with. So the way to build structure and a more solid business is to have senior coach legs. So for every senior coach leg that you have, that's 1 point. So you can go ED with 6,000 frontline volume. That's volume alone. That'd be 5 points. 1,200 times 5 is 6. Or you can go ED by volume with 4 points, which would be 4,800. And one senior coach leg would be another point. So that'd be 4 and 1 would be 5. Does that make sense? It's kind of confusing, but if you see it written out, we probably should have done like a
And I can, you know what, John, you explaining it this way and Linda write it down, and I can, when we talk, I can go into detail with that.
So technically you could go ED with 0 clients of your own, with 0 volume, with 0 frontline qualified. You wouldn't have to have any volume at all, but you'd have 5 senior coach legs. Now that's I don't know if it's ever been done before, but theoretically it's possible to do that. Mm-hmm. Or you could go with $1,200 in frontline volume or frontline qualified volume, we call it now FQV, $1,200, and then 4 senior coach legs would be 4 points, and then your $1,200 in frontline volume would be 5 points. So you can go 0 frontline volume, 1,200 frontline volume, 2,400 frontline volume, $3,600 frontline volume, $4,800 frontline volume, or $6,000 frontline volume. Each one of those $1,200 increments is a point. And then each senior coach leg is a point. So what they want you to do for the ILAP trip, and I don't even remember what they call it, the Arizona trip, whatever that's called. I think it's called a transformational summit. I don't remember.
What is it called?
But in Arizona, to qualify for that, you need to become an ED, a blended path ED.
You have to be blended path in order to go. You cannot be by frontline only. So really just take that off the radar, because you're going to want to build structure within your business, and one of the main reasons too is then it's sustainable. Then you have got should you need to step away, which happens to all of us in life, your business is going to keep going because you've got foundation, and just for better words. I mean, it's just, that's what you want. You want to have other folks doing what you're doing. So that's why you want to bring on coaches. And you want to start talking about that in that health assessment. I mean, you want to drop the first time that you have contact with that person when you're doing that health assessment, you want to bring up coaching, and that can look different. I like to say that it's the hidden component that will keep you on this path, and that's helping others coach, and their response is always, I could never do that. And I would say, I thought the same thing. And here I am. So, but you know what? We'll talk about that later. And then I move on to something else. Don't even discuss it then. Just drop, just drop the little nugget, just start dripping on them at that point. Because if you follow, it's just like the 5 and 1. For every 5 clients, there's one health coach in there. So when you start looking at your business, you're going to start seeing that. So it's just shifting your mind to just understand that you need to bring up coaching much more frequently than what we were taught. I think that's what is just so fascinating, is this all has evolved. And some of you haven't been around as long as like we have, Tracy, Steph, that that was never encouraged in the beginning. And so that has been a huge mind shift for me, is to just bring up coaching all the time. And we all know that that's the hidden component, that's what's kept you in the game. That's what's kept you working at improving yourself, is coaching.
One thing I did leave out, you need to do that 2 consecutive months. So, and the qualification is July, August, and September. And it's called Transformational Business Summit. That's in Phoenix.
That's how I was starting to
So
look
if you
at.
didn't do that this month in July, you need to do it in August and September to qualify for the summit in November. Any questions on how the qualifications work?
Linda, are you senior coach?
No,
Okay.
I am like just that 1 or 2 clients away from that.
Okay.
But I should hit that in August. I have
Okay.
a lot of things in the works. So I should be hitting that in August.
Okay.
I've been sharing and caring like you wouldn't believe.
That's it. Just be in action. Honestly, just be in action. So that's great. Good for you.
Thank
Steph,
you.
you have a question? I saw you. Did you raise your hand?
You're muted.
Nope.
You're still muted.
Earbuds that don't have the mic.
Oh, there it is. I can hear you now.
I can't.
They muted me.
Are you guys hearing her?
I'm on. So anyway, it also said only 1 month blended in September if you've never been blended. Am I correct on that?
I know, that's what I was thinking. It
I'm
says,
not hearing what she said.
she said that, like I was just thinking for Linda's qualifications are going to be different because she hasn't been, I need,
Well, anybody who's not ED, the qualifications are the same, I think.
I think I read that if they've never gone blended path ED. So Linda, you're going to want to hit ED, okay, and we'll help you with that. So that's 4,800 frontline volume and 1 senior coach. Lean into us. We're going to help you.
Yeah.
Your entire mentorship team. Now, because she's never hit ED before with
right.
coach blended path, from what I understand, it's only 1 qualifying month. So you'll have to do it, 1 time. But if you have, so Katie, you've hit blended ED before, you'd have to do it 2 times.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
the qualifications are different for Linda
Okay.
than they are for the rest of us, just because we've been around longer. So yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure that's it too, because I was listening to Dan Bell go over some stuff last night, and yeah,
And
I think that's
with anybody, we're here to help you get to your goal. You're in action. We want to help you. So lean in. Okay.
So repeat that one more time. So for me to hit ED, I could do it with 4,800 frontline volume and 1 senior coach.
correct.
So I have to bring on a coach pretty much immediately and get that person to have 5 clients as well.
But I would say, rather than, I think this was probably one of my big takeaways, was you could also do it with 3,600 frontline volume and 2 coaches. So you're going to be mentioning, you're going to be suggesting, you're going to be bringing up coaching all the time. And so don't I only say this because this was my obstacle for a while. Don't set your sights that it's only that you're just going to have one senior coach. Think of it in multitudes, that you're going to be suggesting coaching to everybody. And you're thinking, 2 to 3 to 4 coaches. Think beyond just that one. Because if you get locked into that your front line is going to be 4,800 and you need one coach, that's exactly where you'll stay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
So don't limit yourself. But this is what Megan Valentine was talking about. Don't limit yourself to that's the goal, because then you just get too locked into that and you never jump forward, because then you think, well, now I've got it. So now, so think multiple coaches, because you're going to be bringing this up every time you do a health assessment. You're going to say the hidden link here. If you want this to be a lifelong transformation, you're going to want to join me and join me in coaching. And they're going to say, no. And you're going to say, I thought the same. And I was just with 11,000 coaches, and you're going to want to join us. You're going to want to be there next year in 2020. And then go on to the next thing. Go on, share with me again why this is important to you. Why do you want to get to a healthy weight? Why is this important? Then go on to another subject, and they'll mull that over. So I only say that because that was an obstacle of mine. And that, you just want to think bigger numbers, bigger, I'm going to have 4 coaches. I'm going to have 4 coaches by Christmas time, or 5 coaches. And the reason is that if you don't get there, who cares? But you've set that for yourself. So you're already setting yourself up that you could see it, that you're talking it, that you're being it, that it's part of you. You are Optavia, and that's what you're thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Rather than going 48, one coach, thinking just that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I get really,
That's
I'm very visual. I need
That's
charts.
really good, because you know what? It's actually reaching high too. Like don't getting the minimum.
I know, because when you said that, Linda, that's what struck me, because I've heard that in myself and I've heard that in people. So when you say that, then that's it. So you just need to think broader, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna.
I got it.
Yeah. So that's it. Good deal.
Thank you for sharing that.
It's the obstacles away.
We should learn from what you guys blaze the path before us with.
We've done our fair share of mistakes. Believe me.
But that's it. That's why, you know what, you lean into the people that have done it before, because they have done all this. They've made not mistakes, teachable moments.
No, but I mean, and made mistakes. I'm still challenged with Zoom. Oh my gosh, still challenged with it, but it's okay.
So they had the qualifying, just to clarify, the qualifying will be in October, like it goes up until October. So
it goes through September for the
July, August, and September.
For the Transformational Business Summit, which is going to be the first part of November.
So those who have qualified already, we should probably start making plans, airplane and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, this should be pretty, I think these events are really cool, because they really ramp things up and you just get tons of information in a short amount of time. It's really different than convention. I'm just saying that for Linda or Joy or anybody that hasn't been at something other than those general events. They're really fun to go to, and you just really get inundated with lots of information. So, yes. But they're great events to go to, great events to go to. And
do you think that this is taking over the Go Global that we used to have? Is that what they're kind of?
Well, hard to say. I don't know. But I think especially having it at the beginning of November, because that is already setting yourself up. That's already thinking January 2020. So you're already getting in momentum for these months that people are starting to think about, what they're going to be doing in January. So November and December are really critical months to be talking to people. And people are ready. They're already thinking January. They're already November. They're thinking what they're going to do in January. So don't. And lots of people. We started in November. We started the end of November and we started program. Yeah, it's like
I started coaching in November, and actually, I think so did Steph, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
November or December. So it's good. Now, even with this, I think it's a great segue because this will actually go into doing this work, qualifying for this event, and now that it's going to go right into the incentive trip.
the incentive trip. Do you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to go with those qualifications now?
Sure. I think, does everybody feel that they understand the qualifications for the Transformational Business Summit is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has clarity what needs to be done to get that invite.
Or any questions about that before we move on?
No, I just don't want to be that person that was that box away from a trip.
We will be right there with you. Don't you worry about it.
Jeez. It was like, I know.
Yeah.
So,
No, we wouldn't let that happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so am I right to assume that everybody's in path 1 for this, the ILAT incentive trip? Is that right, Tracy?
No, path 1 and path 2. So we have path 1, but haven't hit ED yet, and then we have path 2. So if you
Okay, because it's based on where your paid rank as of your highest paid rank from May and June. So some are in path 2, some are in path 1?
Yes. So
Okay.
you can break down what's needed for the path 1 and then the path 2, and I don't think you need to go any farther.
Okay, well, path 1 then, we'll talk about path 1 first. And it's very similar. You want to qualify as an ED with 1 senior coach leg, and that needs to be for 2 consecutive months from July through December. So it's 6 months. Of course, 1 month is already gone. But July through December, 2 consecutive months, and one of those months has to be December.
Yeah.
So if you qualify, if you do that, an ED blended path with 1 senior coach or more, if you do that in August and September, then you'd also need to do it again in December.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then obviously, if you do that, you have to have your frontline volume's got a total 30,000 in 6 months. But if you do that, you'll easily have frontline qualified volume of 30,000 in 6 months. What else is on here? And that's pretty much it. Am I forgetting anything, Steph? I think that's it.
I think that's it too. And you know, so Linda, you qualify for the Arizona. You got this.
Yeah.
Really, it's going to push you.
Okay.
And
Yeah, because it's just, then, because once you qualify for this, which goes through September, then you're pretty well set going on, because you'll have your senior coach or more. And so you'll be, you'll have lots of things going on, and that'll be good. This will be good.
And then path 2, you need to become an FIBC, which is fully integrated business coach, for 2 consecutive months. And one of those months has to be December. So again, if you do that in August and September, that's 2 consecutive months, but then you need to do it you need to do it again in December. So what FIBC means, in case you don't know what that is you have 5 senior coach legs. And you would also have frontline volume of a minimum of $6,000 frontline volume to be fully integrated. To be fully integrated, you have to have 6,000 minimum frontline volume, and then 5 senior coach legs. and then the aggregate for the frontline volume's got to be 45,000, which again, if you do that, you'll easily hit 45,000 in 6 months. Any questions about that?
And you know what? Everybody on here is certified too. So we're in a good
No.
technically
Oh,
you're going to be now, right? You've
yes.
talked about getting your certification.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because in addition to that, with that certification, that bumps up your is it 3%, John?
3%.
Mm-hmm.
With that too.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. That's it.
So
Well, it's doable, and it's fun to think about, what the possibilities. So, especially that cruise, or that, not the cruise, but the trip in April. So
The bottom line to keep in mind is this is nothing more than a numbers game. It's all it is. Steph or Tracy, you and I were talking yesterday about the 5 penny thing. And who was it? Jim Rohn, that says it doesn't matter what you say. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. It doesn't matter what you say. It's just, and the more you say it, the better you'll get. But it's just a matter of talking to people. And if they're not ready to go, have some kind of a system, your file folder system, to keep track of people, to follow up with them. And everybody I talk to goes into my contacts, and they go onto our newsletter. And every now and then, we'll get somebody off our newsletter. They'll respond to our newsletter, and we'll get a client that way, or acquire a client that way.
John, can you explain, because that was a long time ago, and they used to say, about the 5 penny. Can you explain to everybody the 5 penny rule, to have like a consistent goal every day?
Well, there are a lot of different variations of it, but basically, if you put 5 pennies in your left pocket and you don't go home, or you don't quit for the day until you've talked to one new person, 5 new people. And each time you talk to a new person and get their contact information, talk to them about the program, you move that 1 penny to your right pocket. And you keep doing that until all 5 pennies go from your left pocket to your right pocket. Or you can do it with 10 pennies or whatever. I mean, if you're scared, do it with 1 penny the first time, and you work your way up. But the key to this business is taking action. Mm-hmm. And there's how many of you were at Dr. A's Unplugged on Sunday morning? I don't know if you guys heard that Dan Valentine just did a podcast yesterday talking about this, that what Dr. A was talking about. And if you haven't heard it, go to the Momentum Boot Camp, and there's a link in there for the podcast. But Dr. A was saying something about the limbic portion of your brain. He said that if you could remove that from our brain, we would all be integrated presidentials. Because what that does is that's the part of our brain that makes us question things, that makes us scared, that makes us not confident, makes us worry about what people think about us. If we could just train ourselves to not worry about that, to just remove it ourselves, then we'd all be integrated presidentials. It's just getting out of our own way. And who cares what people think? We all know this is a great thing. We all know that this is a win-win for everybody. Who cares what anybody thinks? If you talk to enough people, eventually, it won't happen overnight, but eventually you'll build a business. Mm-hmm. It's easier said than done, but that's pretty interesting. But yeah, listen to that podcast. Dan did it yesterday. It's like 20 minutes. It's not very long. He just talks about what Dr. A talked about Sunday.
Is that the podcast or the Momentum Boot Camp that just?
Yep.
That just finished. Momentum Boot Camp 2019 ! Okay. And there's tons of little mini, just mini lives that multiple people have done, and they're all really good. So if you have a couple seconds, if you're sitting someplace and instead of scrolling through your phone, get on that boot camp and just find any of those, and they're really good. They're really good. So yeah, you won't
keep that active too, so people can go back.
Yeah, if you just go to your whatever podcast app you use and type in Momentum Boot Camp, you'll find it. And the title is You Need Brain Surgery. And he just recorded a day ago. So yesterday.
I'll do that tomorrow morning.
It's 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So it's not very long.
Oh.
Awesome.
Wow.
But pretty interesting. I mean, if you just think about that, everything we do is mental.
Yeah.
It's just a mind game.
Yeah, it is.
And this is a numbers game. I mean, there are people that want this. They may not want it right away. But again, if you have some sort of an organized system to keep track of people, and that's what our file folder is for.
And your your follow-up Friday folder. You know, every person that you talk to, every person that you bring it up, write them on that health assessment and stick them in that Friday follow-up folder. And then that's Dan Valentine's again on Friday. Call 5 people. Tell yourself you're going to call 10 people. And, hey, I talked to you a couple weeks ago. Just checking in, see how you're doing. Because, there's high probability you're going to be leaving them a message. But you've followed up. You've got yourself in action. And Friday is a great day to do that. People are in a good mood. But that's kind of the other thing that John and I were talking about is that you need to, figure out for yourself or sit down with Tracy and, where do you want to be and how many people does that mean a week that you need to talk to in order to reach that? And so does that mean on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm going to reach out to 5 people or I'm going to reach out to 3 people or, you gotta, again, it goes back to the numbers game. I mean, take the emotion out of it and just look at it like, okay, I'm going to reach out to 10 people every week. That means 2 a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's just what I'm going to stick with. That's just what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that from now. I'm going to do that in August and September. And just, whatever your agreement is with yourself and just stay consistent with that. And then you'll get where you need to be. So it's just breaking it down, just coming up with the formula, coming up with your formula that, is going to put you there. So yeah, that's it. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, except that we have something that really benefits people. It truly does. It truly, I don't know, my life is, oh my gosh, I can't imagine if I would not have stuck with this, how humongous I would be, honestly. So, it's like, oh my gosh. So really, go back to your own, just thankful that you've got what you got. And I just want to pay it forward. Just want to give it away. So that's it. So.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Okay. And what we'll do today is the end of, what month are we in? July. You see, my Golden's in here too, and here's my other, so they're coming to say hi. So, the end of July. So let's start figuring out what August is going to look like. And what I'd like to do, and Donnie and John, what I'm doing, because big takeaway for me is structure is now my best friend.
Yeah.
So, I that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do coaching calls. I'm going to set up Tuesdays and Thursdays for coaching calls. I'm going to block different times, whether it be morning, afternoon, evening, whatever works for you all. I'm going to block those times out, and you can use me. We can do weekly accountability. Okay, what are you hitting? What are the numbers that you want? So we can do this 1 week at a time. And we do it, it's 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time, and it's going to be 1 month at a time. But let's all do this. And this is for everybody on the team. I'm opening this up for. And also explorers and all that too. We can do that at that time. Go ahead, Donnie. What did you want to?
Well, the other thing I think that I've noticed too is that everybody, and this has been talked about multiple times, but hitting where you want to be by the 20th of the month. Don't wait until the last day and then you're like all wigged out and panicked and you're, because we've all been there. So when you reach it, I mean, and you're looking at your numbers, you're evaluating where you're at. So reach where you want to be by the 20th, have that as another goal so that you've still got 10 days in there that, if you didn't reach where you want to be by the 20th, you've still got some time that you can create, hit your goal that you want. So it's another, and again, you want this to be enjoyable. You don't want it to be stressful. So when you set yourself up for that, then you're, then you don't get yourself all wigged out. Or maybe I'm just speaking for myself.
Good advice. That's good advice, because all of us have been there. That it's 11:30 on the last month and you need one order, and that's stressful. So
it is.
When you have it and you've hit it, then you're not at that crunch time. So that's really good.
You speak differently to people when you know in your head that you've reached your goal. Your whole posture is just different. So it's setting yourself up for success. It really, it is. It's just different. I mean, and I think we all coach differently too when we're in integrity and doing what we're supposed to do. Or maybe I'm just speaking for myself. But I can't be eating a bag of M&Ms and, well, no, I can't. Peanut M&Ms to be exact.
We've all been there too. And
that's
when you're eating that bag of M&Ms, you're not.
No, there's just something.
People a day.
You just have a different mindset when you know that you're doing what you need to be doing, and not that, I don't get my bag of peanut M&Ms, but it's a different mind shift. You stand differently, you posture yourself differently, you carry yourself differently when you are, when you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. There's just a level of integrity. It's just true for all of us, I believe. And I think that was really brought home this weekend too. Rise up and, do what you're supposed to do. And, people see that, people know that, people can sense that. You just can. So
be bold, be proud. There's lots to be proud of, and that attracts people.
Yeah.
Don't have that mindset. Well, I think I can do this. I think, okay, I'll try. No, that won't work. Be bold.
Yeah.
Be proud.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are Optavia.
Live Optavia. Be Optavia.
We are Optavia.
And here's a couple, and I'm sure you all have heard this, a couple takeaways. No, try, do. That's Yoda, so I'm doing Jedi mind trick telling you.
Okay.
Try, do. But then there's also, you can't lead when you need. I heard that also. I don't know who said it, but do you remember hearing that, Donnie?
I heard that too, and that is so huge, again, because right, and that's just it. If you need that client or you need that coach, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So again, I mean, that kind of piggybacks on that, hit your goal earlier in the month. So you just stand differently. You just posture yourself differently. Your conversations are different. You don't need, because people feel that too. I mean, people, it just comes through. They just know it, you just, but we have a great thing, guys. I mean, we do.
I love it. And it's true. And this is why I wanted to bring Donnie and John as our mentorship. They're global. They've been there. They've done it. They've done everything that we've done. And you know what they do? They lead with their hearts. So if we all lead with our hearts, it's gonna happen.
It is.
So I really, I wanted to do this to really show, let's lean into our mentorship. Everybody's here. And we want to get you guys to your goals, and thank you. And Donnie and John, thank you so much for taking the time out to really share with us. And, any of you can reach out to Donnie and John at any time. If you want to pick, they are so approachable, and I know that they would be happy.
John's faster at responding than I am. I'll just say that right now. I'm putting it out there, but I do.
It's your authentic you, Donnie.
I do get back to you. I am a little notorious for not being Johnny on the spot, but
all right,
I'm working on that.
I'm gonna stop recording.